we're back once again at the Imperial Ballroom at the Trump Plaza. I'm Rich Murata along with Joe Goosen tonight. And coming up is our main event in which we're going to have a chance to see the very talented Buddy McGirt, the WBC welterweight champion, going up against Oscar Ponce. Well, Joe, you take a look at Buddy McGirt, and Buddy McGirt certainly is a true boxer. But he's not a pure boxer in the sense that he can't punch.
That's
he
right.
can do both.
That's right. Well, Buddy McGirt, and that's what you gain from 60 fights experience. He can do it all in the ring. He can body punch, he can box, he can pressure you, he can do just about everything in that ring, and I believe Oscar Ponce is in for a heck of a night tonight.
Well, it's going to be a tough task, but we want you to know a little bit more about Buddy McGirt, the world welterweight champion. So right now, we're going to take a closer look at the WBC welterweight champ, Buddy McGirt. Great fighters come back from adversity. To win his first championship, Buddy McGirt had to avenge this beating he took from Frankie Warren in July of 1986. On Valentine's Day, 2 years later, McGirt closed Warren's eye on his way to winning the IBF Junior Welterweight title.
The Frank Warren match was great, you know, because the dude was running their mouth a lot, you know what I mean? And I'm not the type to really, you know, talk about people, but they were just yapping a little bit too much. You know what I mean? They was walking around in Texas with shirts on saying, in the new junior welterweight champion of the world, you know what I mean? And, you know, that psychological crap that they try to use, but, you know, it was great, though, you know, to beat him in, you know, in his own hometown, because they gave me the same hotel room on the same floor. They rented me the same type of car. You know what I mean? Try to, like, play mind games with me, but they can't bring that weak stuff to a strong man, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work with me.
But McGirt's reign as junior welterweight champion was short-lived. After a devastating one-punch knockout of Olympic hero Howard Davis, another gold medal winner, Meldrick Taylor, took the title from Buddy, stopping him in the 12th round.
Well, it was a case of, you know, certain things happen in a person's life that can either make you or break you. That helped make me, you know what I mean? I was very stubborn and thick-headed at the time, you know. I just thought that even though I was sick, I could still go in there and win the fight, you know what I mean, rather than just pulling out. And it was, it's a matter of having too much pride. You know, I thought it was my duty as a champion to go in there and fight no matter what the conditions were. But, you know, you live and learn, so I just, you know, I don't look back. They say if you look back, you know, on the past, it catches up to you. So that's over and done with. That's dead and stinking right now, so I just let it lie.
McGirt's trainer, Al Cerdo, is a veteran of the fight game. He believes a fighter needs to stay active in the ring to stay effective.
I know Buddy, the type of fighter that he is and the type of person that he is. And with my views on what fighters should do is to keep busy. He's from the old school, and these are my old thinking, and he needs that kind of work to keep sharp. Being a champion, you know, a good champion is one that fights maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and this is not really good for any fighter, and it's not good for Buddy. Buddy has to fight at least 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you know, in between fights. And this is what we look for, which is a hard thing to do.
And staying busy paid off. After 15 fights, McGirt got a shot at Simon Brown for the WBC welterweight title.
You know what I mean? I rise to the occasion when I have to. You know, I fight to the ability of my opponent. If my opponent is supposed to be great, then I'll be greater. You know what I mean? That's the way I am. That's the type of fighter I am. So, you know, I knew what I had to do going into the fight. So it wasn't like I did anything different for the fight. I trained like I trained for any other fight. I just knew what I had to do going into there, and I put it in my mind, and I put that with this, and it all clicked.
And that's Buddy McGirt, truly a fine champion today. Across the ring from him tonight will be Oscar Ponce, a kid who's a severe underdog. There's no question about that, Joe, but what can he bring to the table here this evening?
Well, what he's going to try to bring is a lot of punching power and a lot of pressure. He made no bones about it. When we talked to him earlier in the day, Oscar Ponce said he was going for a knockout and going for it early. So you're going to see some fireworks early, because Buddy McGirt certainly is not going to turn down the challenge of a good fight, even if it is in the first round.
Right, well, he can be a pretty rough kid in that ring. In fact, why don't we find out right now how Oscar Ponce is approaching this fight tonight against the world champion Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, I want to try to knock him out, to show the people not back and I'm feel strong. And I do the right thing. What the fighter had to do is discipline. This is what I have now. I just trained on 6 weeks for the fight, and I don't see nobody for 6 weeks. And I was in the gym, training my gym, work as part of anybody, the way, you know, boxers, strong anybody used to work in. And I'm so comfortable, you know, to fight anybody. he's the champion. It's my best opportunity to fight him, to show it in the world, and I can fight.
And that's Oscar Ponce, who tonight has the difficult task of going in against Buddy McGirt, who brings a record tonight into the ring of 57 victories, 2 defeats, and 1 draw. Buddy McGirt, as you could tell from the piece that we did on him, is a guy who has great stick-to-itiveness, I guess you could call it. He has not let defeat in his career deter him from his ultimate goal. In each case, Joe, following a defeat, he was able to come back and win a world championship.
That's right. And I know he'd like to avenge the one defeat he hasn't been able to really attain, and that's the one against Meldrick Taylor, where he was stopped in 12 rounds. Of course, in Buddy McGirt's behalf, he really was severely ill in that fight.
And now, as we see coming down the aisle in this non-title fight, is Oscar Ponce. Oscar, with a record of 14 victories and 7 defeats. He started off very fast in his career with 11 consecutive victories, and then his career seems to have slowed down almost to a halt. One thing, Joe, about Oscar Ponce, as we see him getting into the ring, though, he said after a while he just didn't take things seriously, and he was partying. He said he had a lot of girlfriends. He says, well, I've stopped the partying. I'm a lot more serious about boxing now, and I'm down to 1 girl.
Well, that can even be hazardous when you're training for a fight. But, you know, Oscar Ponce realizes if he's ever going to attain anything in his business, he's either going to do it a little bit or all the way, and he's really determined to win this fight, he said.
Well, even in a situation, as we see the champion, Buddy McGirt, coming down the aisle right now and getting a big welcome from this crowd, even in a situation like tonight, Joe, if he loses, but is impressive in losing, it can really step him up the ladder.
That's right, and that's exactly what happened to Alex Stewart against George Foreman, a guy that was really a perennial opponent, and now his market value is sky high because of the great performance against George Foreman.
Look at that outstanding record, 57-2-1. Only losses to Frankie Warren and to Meldrick Taylor. Last year, he surprised many, stunned many with his victory over Simon Brown. It wasn't so stunning, Joe, that he won the fight with Simon Brown, but to the extent that he won it and the domination that he had over a guy that many considered a really outstanding champion, Simon Brown, was startling.
That's right. You know, really, Simon Brown was considered the best welterweight pound for pound out there and proved it against a few of his defenses. And when Buddy McGirt stepped in the ring with him and dominated him for 12 rounds, well, Buddy McGirt proved that he really was the best welterweight, and has his eyes, I think, set for maybe even a junior welterweight title fight if he can attain a big money fight in the welterweight division.
All right, well, we'll find out a little more about the saga of Buddy McGirt as this fight unfolds. And now for the official introductions, let's go up to Ed Darien.
Live from the Imperial Ballroom here at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino on the boardwalk in the boxing capital of the world of Atlantic City, New Jersey, as Frank Gelb Promotions, in association with the Trump Plaza, proudly present this evening's main event, and is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, the Honorable Larry Hazard, Senior Commissioner. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 10-round welterweight bout, referee Arthur Mercanti. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the black trim. He weighed in at an even 154 pounds. Professionally, he has 14 wins, 7 losses with 5 knockouts. The former 3-time Argentine and South American amateur champion from Santiago del Estero, Argentina. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome aboard Oscar Torito de Oro Ponce. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks with the white trim. He weighed in at an even 150 pounds. Now, this fine young gentleman has 57 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 44 knockouts. He is the current WBC welterweight champion of the world. From Brentwood, Long Island, New York, ladies and gentlemen, here is James Buddy McGirt.
Good evening, gentlemen. You both know the rules of the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. Shake hands now. Come out boxing at the bell.
All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. The two fighters here is McGirt and Ponce. Basically, Ponce just a few years younger, a little bit taller than McGirt, 4 pounds heavier, and the reach is basically the same here. So you've got a pretty even matchup.
All right, one thing we'll find out as we take a look at Arthur McKinney, as we get things underway, is how Buddy McGirt carries his weight, 150 pounds, going up here to a 154-pounder in Oscar Ponce, who he's meeting here tonight. And Ponce has made no bones about the fact that he's going to come out and try to rough up Buddy McGirt here tonight. I guess that'd be the best chance for him, Joe, would seem to be if he can get him into a street brawl.
Do that and do it early, because Buddy McGirt seems to get better as he goes on, and his accumulative, he's such a good boxer that the accumulative amount of punches that he can inflict on you really catches up to you in the later rounds. So Ponce better do it early if he has any chance.
Buddy McGirt in the blue trunks. Getting away nicely from Oscar Ponce. He's not an easy man to hit, McGirt.
Well, he's a real throwback to the old style of boxing. He keeps that left hand low, he rolls that shoulder, he gets under that right hand and counters you with a good right uppercut. He's got all the tricks in the books. He's had 60 fights. He's just a very well-schooled, well-disciplined athlete, a real throwback.
You won't find many people out there right now who have more than 50 victories in a career who are active. Cesar Chavez leading that parade, of course, with 80. Now we see McGirt getting to work, and that left jab to some effect working here in the first round. And now he actually has Ponce backing away, and Ponce getting caught with a right. But Ponce waves him in.
Well, shame on you if you wave in Buddy McGirt on you, because really something I think is wrong with Ponce. I don't know. It seems like he's showing some sort of I don't know if he got thumped or injured
or some type of distress in there.
Yeah, really, because he was pressuring. Now he's backing up, looking aside, winking in his corner. But this certainly isn't the way he started out. He changed midstream during this round.
He just threw 2 right hands at McGirt. We'll keep an eye and try to figure out what's going on with Oscar Ponce, because something is here.
Barring any injuries, what he may be doing is he may have figured out right off the bat he wasn't going to catch McGirt by chasing him and maybe try to sucker him into something. But I don't think either way, if he chases him or if he backs up from him, he's going to be able to really catch McGirt.
Ponce now coming back in again, straightforward. McGirt turned pro in March of 1982. He had a draw in his first fight with Lamont Heathcote, and then just reeled off 28 consecutive victories before he finally lost that fight in 1986 to Frankie Warren. This is a kid who's been pro a long time, Buddy McGirt.
That's right. I saw that expertise. Ponce threw a jab, and McGirt countered with a short, crisp right hand over the top.
Ponce missing, winging that right. Hasn't been able to find the target yet as we come to the end of round 1 on Prime Network. Round number 2. Bout between Buddy McGirt, world welterweight champion under the jurisdiction of the WBC. He's in the blue trunks with a white trim, and Oscar Ponce, a record of 14-7 out of Argentina, coming straight forward. And the crowd now begins to Buddy chant. Very popular here in New Jersey, all along the East Coast, is Buddy McGirt, the only world champion from Long Island. McGirt, something we should point out as well, Joe, had elbow surgery in 1990.
Well, I think you might be confusing him with Gabriel Relis.
He had a torn bicep.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. That's right, your fighter.
Yeah.
He had a damaged tendon, though, in his bicep, which needed surgery and knocked him out of the ring there for several months.
Yeah, it went a little beyond that. What happened was the muscle tore away from the bicep and actually rolled up towards the shoulder. And it was a career-threatening injury, ending injury, and by some large miracle, he had it surgically repaired and is back and world champion again, which is an amazing, amazing feat to come back.
Right above us now as Ponce rushes at McGirt. Sitting this close to Joe Goosen, of course, you always must be aware of his fighters, Gabriel Relis and Rafael Ruela.
Mention an injury, I'll mention my fighters. Well, I'm not alone in that, though, because every fighter really sustains their share of injuries. And world champions down to 3 limb fighters.
Good combination by Buddy McGirt, just opening up now, beginning to flurry a little bit. Here's the left hand, working well. Buddy landing a high percentage of his punches so far, and Ponce missing most of his, and he's coming forward but not throwing, Joe. He keeps walking forward. There's a wild right, but it misses. Well, McGirt easily gets away.
That's what happens every time he moves forward. He's getting hit with that jab right there. And Buddy McGirt's no fool. He's not going to get in and start slugging him out with a strong kid, especially when the kid is strong really right now, Ponce. And he's going to wait till he maybe puffs him up a little bit or slows him down with some body shots. But right now, Buddy McGirt's going to just bide his time and pick Oscar Ponce apart.
What do you think about McGirt either staying at the welterweight level or stepping up? In fact, he's carrying 150 tonight.
You look at his body at 150, you don't see an ounce of fat on him. He's in really good shape. And sometimes as you get older, as Buddy McGirt is getting older, he's in his late 20s if I'm not mistaken. He's 28. Your body starts to mature, and you don't have the same body as you do when you're 24, 25. And those extra 4 or 5 pounds really serve you well. Sometimes you're under the misconception that you have to stay at the same weight you started out at, and that's not really true.
You saw McGirt land that left, and again, Ponce missing, throwing 3 punches, but missing all of them. There's a good right to the belly by Ponce, and now he opens up for the first time. Chases McGirt to the ropes as the bell sounds, ending the round. Mercani jumps in between the two, and finally Ponce got in a punch, and it was a body shot.
Yeah, and it was questionable how good that body shot was, because I saw it a little low, Rich, and I think Buddy McGirt felt it a little low because he put his hand down there and tapped himself a couple times to say it was a low blow. Carmine Graziano here working in the corner of Oscar Ponce. He's one of the better, well-known fight trainers.
And across the way, there's Buddy McGirt with Al Cerdo in front of him. Very calm over in that corner. Ponce, I thought, was beginning to look real discouraged in that second round. But he did land that one shot to the body, whether it was low or not.
Yeah, it'll definitely serve purpose. In fact, the lower it is, probably the more it's going to be beneficial to Ponce. So as long as he can get away with it, he'll continue to throw it, low or not. Here's another one, low right uppercut right on the thigh of Buddy McGirt. Of course, the referee is on the left side of Oscar Ponce, so he was screened out and couldn't see them.
Ponce is very wild with that right. He's not throwing many lefts. I don't know if there's a possibility if he may have injured that left hand in the first round. He's still throwing it, but he's gone to the right more.
We double up on a right hand there and went to a left hook to the liver, but Buddy McGirt smothered all of those and rolled with the right hand. McGirt, I'm sure, would like to get a few body shots in, but of course, to open up to the body, it leaves you open a little bit, and I think he's going to wait to go to the body for maybe another round or two.
Buddy, you take a look at him in there. He's so calm. Look at that. Almost like hitting the heavy bag there.
Well, some people call Oscar Ponce a heavy bag as an opponent right now, but he's really not fighting that way. He looks determined, and he really does want to fight with Buddy McGirt, but Buddy McGirt's just too slick for him.
Sure, you saw that discouraged look on his face there again, Joe, when he missed that right hand.
Well, you know, there's a couple other fights out there on the horizon for Buddy McGirt. Not to say that this one is in the bag for him by any means, but you got to assume he's going to go on from here. And, you know, an appetizing fight, really, there he goes down to the body after that left head, is a rematch with Melvin Taylor, who's the other welterweight champion, holds the, I believe, the WBC or WBA.
Well, McGirt's a WBC.
So it's a WBA then.
McGirt is also making noise about fighting the winner of the Hector Camacho, Julio Cesar Chavez fight.
Of course, they're fighting at 140 pounds, and, you know, of course, he would either have to go down or somebody come up. But I would say that Buddy McGirt's future is going to lean towards the welterweight and junior middleweight division. Maybe a fight with Terry Norris in the near future. Of course, Terry Norris is going to be fighting Simon Brown, the man that Buddy McGirt beat for the titles.
Doubling up with that right hand. That's interesting. It's something you don't see too often in there, Joe, is double rights by a fighter. And McGirt is able to throw them with ease.
That's right. And you try to teach a fighter when you're in the gym to double up on his punches, sometimes triple up on his punches, because they're often, the opportunity there to score those are often there.
So we are through 3 rounds at the Trump Plaza. Buddy McGirt and Oscar Ponce. Round 4 coming up.
Well, let's take a look at the uppercut left hook by Buddy McGirt. Of course, Oscar Ponce got that right hand up and partially deflected it.
For those of you just joining us, it's round 4 of a non-title bout between the WBC welterweight champ Buddy McGirt in the blue trunks, Oscar Ponce from Argentina in the white trunks with a black stripe. I'm Rich Murata along with Joe Goosen, and we are ringside in the Imperial Ballroom of Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Third man in the ring is Arthur Mercante. There have been no knockdowns in this fight so far, but Buddy McGirt has been in control all the way and certainly won the first 3 rounds, hands down.
Well, Oscar Ponce is starting to put a little bit more pressure on and landing a few of his own shots there to the body. And, you know, this is a 10-round fight, and he could do something to maybe get Buddy McGirt into a slugging match, and of course that's what he wants to do. And Buddy McGirt is moving less here and fighting him off the rope. So this is an opportunity for Oscar Ponce to really make a mark for himself in this fight.
Now, Joe, this is the 3rd fight since he won the title, McGirt, and 2 of them have been non-title fights. Now, how do you feel as a trainer about non-title fights for world champions?
Well, I love it, you know, because it's like anything else. The less you do it, the more rusty you're going to get. The busier you keep a fighter, the sharper he stays, the less time he's got to get into trouble. You keep him in the gym, and hey, this is their profession. This is what they should be doing. This is how they make their living. And I think Al Cerdo has done a great job by keeping Buddy McGirt busy. But, of course, the fighter has to want to stay busy.
Yeah, well, what about the motivation for a champion going into a non-title fight?
Listen, it's like saying, how do you get yourself motivated to get up and go to work every day? That's your job. You know, and if you love it, you're going to be motivated whether it's a title fight or a non-title fight.
Now McGirt opening up. Before he landed just a cracking right hand, and Ponce gave a little woo after that.
Yeah, he's got a great chin, Oscar Ponce. He's got a few pounds on McGirt right now, and you know, he's known for taking a good punch. But you don't want to take too many of those, Rich.
McGirt backing away as Ponce came in. Managed to get Ponce to miss those punches again. McGirt is a tremendous practitioner of the art of hitting and not getting hit. Look at that combination by Buddy.
It's a beautiful 1-2-3 thrown by Buddy, and then of course he makes that little pivot step out to his left. Always on the move. He's never posing, waiting for a counter shot that he can get hit.
I would have to think that Buddy McGirt would be a tough match for any of the current world champions in his division, the division below or the division above him. And that's not to denigrate anybody else's ability, but this is one of the finest pound-for-pound fighters in the world today.
And let me tell you something, Rich. The thing is, when you've got this type of a style that Buddy McGirt has, a boxer style, a boxer-puncher, that spells longevity in this game. A style like Oscar Ponce can spell a short career.
Well, he's certainly been a catcher so far here tonight. We go back to the corner with James Buddy McGirt, 57-2-1. Al Cerdo, his manager, in front of him. There's Buddy, who used to sit in the tailor shop of Al Cerdo and talk to the great old fighters who used to come in there and glean all the great stories that they had.
Well, and that's probably where Buddy McGirt gets his attitude towards boxing, and it's a real dedicated one, and he really loves what he does. And I say he's the throwback to the old school, and he grew up with the old guys, and he's really taken on that personality.
All right, we've got plenty of action coming up for you here on Prime Network. Our next bout will be a 10-round bout between Darren Van Horn and Martin Amarias. That's coming up September 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern, and also a junior welterweight bout between the very exciting Engels Pedrosa and Wilberforce Kigunda.
Well, that's going to be a great card with Van Horn and Engels Pedrosa on the same night.
Van Horn, now what do you think about his ability to bounce back from his defeat, the crushing defeat at the hands of Iran Barkley?
Well, I called that fight that night, and there were a lot of incidentals that went in that fight that caused a lot of distress and problems in the Van Horn camp. And we'll get to that later, but he was not 100% for that fight.
All right, so far, Buddy McGirt has certainly been 100% in this fight, and he has landed a high percentage of the shots that he has thrown at Oscar Ponce.
Oh, just landed a great right hand on Ponce, and he did stagger there. He recovered well because he's in good shape. He trained hard for this fight, but McGirt, if he keeps landing those type of right hands, Ponce could be out in the next few rounds.
Well, Ponce takes a great shot, and McGirt's hit him some great shots, and he just keeps coming forward. But the discouragement sometimes is written on his face. Well, he managed to land a left hook to the body, Ponce did, but then he tried a second one, and that missed. And Buddy McGirt right there, ducking under the right hand of Oscar Ponce.
That's right, and came up with a left hook of his own, and Ponce luckily had his right hand next to his chin. And, of course, that's one of the basic things you teach a fighter in a gym. When you're punching, keep your hands up. And when you're using your left, keep your right next to your chin.
Starting to become target practice in this round for Buddy McGirt, who's just loading up on those combinations, those quick 1-2s, jab, then 3-punch combinations. You see him just reeling them off one after another. And still, Ponce is right in front of him.
Well, the real difference here, besides the talent factor, is the hand speed of Buddy McGirt and the foot speed. Oscar Ponce, unless he ties Buddy McGirt's shoelaces together, has got a slim chance of really catching up and doing some damage to Buddy McGirt.
Ponce said that he wanted to rough up McGirt tonight, but he has not been able to do so, and now his back is to the rope. Now McGirt backs off for a second. I'm a little surprised Ponce was standing there. Now Ponce waving him in a little bit. And McGirt comes in, obliges him with a left hand, but then backs right out. Buddy apparently not accepting the invitation.
No, and that's you see what Ponce just did. Oh,
hey, you got a present from Oscar Ponce. He kicked the tassel over to you off of his shoe. Nice catch, Joe.
Thank you, thank you.
Great souvenir of this trip.
I wish it came off Buddy McGirt's shoe. That might be a real souvenir.
Another combination by McGirt. And all Ponce can do basically is talk to Buddy, mug him a little bit with his face, but he can't do any damage with his fists, and that's why he's in there. Now this is just a clinic right now as we come to the end of the round. Round 6 at the Trump Plaza. Buddy McGirt, WBC welterweight champion in the blue trunks, been in control of his fight with Oscar Ponce out of Argentina in the white trunks with the black stripe.
Well, there's been the key in the fight is that jab for Buddy McGirt. When he's on his toes using that jab, Oscar Ponce really has no chance of getting in.
After the last 2 rounds, Ponce, before going to his corner, kind of wanders around like a walk in the park.
It's the second
before
time.
Going to the corner, Arthur McCanny had to grab him and direct him to his corner last round. Well, what's that all about?
Well, I think he thinks it's the end of the fight after each round or something. He wanders around and then he finally, oh yeah, that's right, I got to go back to my corner.
He wishes
get
it
some
was
advice.
Right, probably. Because he's being taught a real boxing lesson tonight by a master in Buddy McGirt.
And you see the rationale here behind what Al Cerdo's doing with Buddy McGirt, keeping him busy, keeping him sharp. This may not be a world beater in front of him, but he does pose some problems, and it keeps his man busy and sharp, and you never know when something else is going to pop up.
And there again, that discouraged look on the face of Oscar Ponce, and he smacked himself on the hip after taking that shot from McGirt. But McGirt is all business. You know, he doesn't fool around in there, Joe. He doesn't play to the fans too much.
Right.
He's a real professional.
Well, you see, really, if he were playing to the fans, and of course they're enjoying the boxing lesson he's giving Oscar Ponce right now, but a lot of fans might get a little irritated at the fact that Buddy McGirt isn't going after Ponce and trying to knock him out. But, you know, a smart fighter, a great veteran like this knows that this is the way to fight a fight against a guy who is dangerous because he is strong, and only if you let him get dangerous against you by standing there slugging around.
Well, at this point, it's almost like a workout. Is he just, you think, Joe, just pretty much getting his work in that he wants to get in? Right again, the discouraged slap on the hip by Ponce.
Believe me, he'd love to knock out Oscar Ponce right now, but he knows if it goes 10 rounds, great. He's had 20, 25 fights that have gone the distance before. So as long as you get that W in the win column and you keep improving and keeping yourself sharp, he'll take this victory.
McGirt amazes me because a guy who's got 60 fights, you think at this point of his career would begin to wear down. But I think probably one thing that works in his favor is he hasn't gotten hit too much in those 60 fights.
He just did there with the first jab of the fight by Oscar Ponce, who is cut above the left eye right now. And I can't exactly see if it's in the eyebrow or eyelid. Actually, it looks like it's on top of his head.
Yeah, it looks like it's way, at least very high up in the forehead. We'll take a look at that between rounds, so stay with us. We won't be going anywhere. Oscar Ponce cut right now. Still chasing and still unsuccessful and still very discouraged is Oscar Ponce. As McGirt steps up, throws the jab, and we come to the end of the round.
Now, there are times that Oscar Ponce just looks like he wants to just wave his hands and walk away and leave the ring. He looks that discouraged.
Well, we go back to the corner now with Oscar Ponce, who waits a few seconds. At least he didn't go for the big walk this round, but I think they'd like to get to work on that cut. If they have, in fact, noticed, they're not up into that ring very quickly. Now they finally go to work on it.
Eddie, not Eddie Aliano, but Carmine Graziano at the cut medicine. I looked over the corner, had it prepared, ready to go, and he's applying it now. Rich, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we got a little replay. Here it is. The clash of heads that starts the cut. McGirt comes in, and there it is. And right after that happened, and you see Ponce turn away, is where the blood started flowing down. McGirt leans back, comes in with, and that was initiated by Ponce because he missed a jab. McGirt countered, and Ponce fell through with his head, and that's where the cut came.
And I think Arthur Mercani is. Well, he said that's all, but he might have just been saying that to his handlers to get out of the ring.
Right.
Confused me momentarily because he said that's all, that he was calling the fight, but no, he was just telling the handlers that's all the work you're going to get to do. And here we go into round 7. Buddy McGirt in control. That cut definitely opened up by a headbutt, which you saw.
And of course, if you're going to have a cut, one of the safest spots to have it is on top of your head. It's easily controlled, and it doesn't bleed all that much, and it's not around the eye area, which would impede your vision.
Joe, do you do your own cut work in your corner as a trainer of your fighters?
Yeah, I served a long apprenticeship with Sonny Shields, who trained Randy Shields, his son, for 11 years, and I learned a lot because Randy was a real cutter and a real bleeder, and I got to learn from one of the best in the business. So I handle the cuts when it comes to my fight.
Some would say that a trainer's already busy enough in the corner without having to do that.
Well, it's not all that hard or difficult. I think a lot more. I think people think there's a lot more to it than really is. The good thing about, or the hard thing about having working a cut in the corner is having the right medication and applying good hard pressure to the cut.
Back to this fight once again. There you see that nice sticking left hand by McGirt, but Ponce motioned to him as if to say, "Stand and fight." And McGirt's not having any of that. He's going to box and hand out the boxing license. McGirt knows how to fight, but it's not the kind of fight that Oscar Ponce would like to have an opponent utilizing against him.
Well, there could be a lot more headbutts to come if Oscar Ponce keeps running in like he just did there. You know, he's got to do something dramatic to make something happen here, and he's a determined guy. He's got a little reddening over his right eye now, too. And, you know, when you bang heads off of a man that doesn't have hair on his head, too, it's that extra little cushion you got on your head with the hair. And, of course, Buddy McGirt's has his shaped like a bowling ball right now, so it's a weapon in itself.
Now a warning for hitting on the break was Ponce. That took to the body by Oscar, and he brought one up to the head, too. And there's a little right by Ponce. So a brief flurry of punches from Oscar Ponce.
Well, he should be raising his hands like he just won the world title by landing those 2 shots, because those are the first few shots that he has landed against McGirt.
At least the first that he's been able to land in any kind of succession. Good left hook to the body by Oscar Ponce. You know, I was just going to ask you, maybe McGirt should step up his attack. And again, hitting on the break.
He's going to get a warning from Arthur McCanny for a low blow. That was borderline, and it did hit him well below the belt tip.
Left hook to the body. Ponce perhaps encouraged. He has landed some shots here, and he's coming a little bit faster now than McGirt. 10 seconds to go in round 7. Ponce goes down. No knockdown, obviously. Mercani wipes the gloves and waves them together. Little quick combination by Buddy McGirt as the round comes to an end. And Ponce seems a little happy. Got a chance to fight that round. And look at him wave to the crowd.
Well, what did I tell you? I said he should be waving his hands like he just won the world title because he landed a few shots. But Buddy McGirt is going to handle that. He's such a great matador, and Ponce the Bull. You saw what happened. He pushed him aside. He slips. He weaves. He spins out. Buddy McGirt is an expert boxer. We're going to take a quick look back where that low blow happened, and it's going to be a left uppercut. Boom, right there. It was borderline. It really
doesn't look low to me at all.
Well, it was a little below the belt, but that could be considered a low blow. But Arthur McCanny obviously thought it was because he stepped him back and told him to keep it up.
So you come back and face.
All right, we get ready for round 8. Oscar Ponce, who had some success in that round, the previous round, number 7, coming out, trying to come out strong here and battling to the body. And staying close, and there was another low blow.
Yeah, and another warning from Arthur McCanny. Oh, so it was another low blow.
Well, I thought this one was low, but I definitely don't think the last one was. But you're a trainer, and you guys learn to complain about that stuff. Now, Joe, is Ponce doing something better here, or is McGirt allowing him to do it?
McGirt's allowing him to do it. And it looks like McGirt's either cut or got blood from, it's probably blood from Oscar Ponce on his left eye. But what McGirt's doing is looks like he's taking a round off. He's just going to try to get inside, smother Ponce, block a lot of shots. You see him shifting shoulder to shoulder on him. And that's almost what you would do in sparring when you're not too threatened by your opponent. And that's what it looks like here. Buddy McGirt's just taking a round off and working on the inside.
Left hand to the body by Ponce, and Ponce would probably like to keep this shoulder-to-shoulder combat for the rest of the fight.
Well, he would like that, but Buddy McGirt's going to start sneaking in his stuff. You see Buddy McGirt just kind of lazing a few punches in there and slipping right there. You know, he sees everything coming, and he's going to unload. I think he's going to let Ponce throw a few punches, let him shoot off a little steam, and then start turning it on. Just like that.
Buddy explodes with a combination. Backs into the ropes again and staggers Ponce momentarily with a hard left, and then came right back to a widely exposed chin of Ponce with a right. And again, Ponce yells as he gets hit. And I think the fans are enjoying the gamester Ponce, too. They came to cheer McGirt, but I think there's a growing affinity here.
That's right.
For Oscar Ponce.
And the fans saw that McGirt was handling him rather easily, and they kind of, I think, appreciate the fact that McGirt's given Oscar Ponce a little bit of a chance.
6-punch combination. Look at Ponce. Look at him. Look at Ponce. He said, yeah, is that your best shot? I took it, huh? Now, Oscar's enjoying this. And he comes right back at McGirt. I think McGirt must be wondering, is this guy a little crazy or what? Oscar Ponce may be losing, but he's stealing some hearts right now, the fans.
That's right, and it proves that Oscar Ponce was telling us the truth when he said he trained hard, and he's really determined in this fight, because he could have packed it in a couple rounds ago with as easily as McGirt was handling it.
McGirt is still in control, don't be misled, but Oscar Ponce is a game guy, and the fans love it. His trainers have to actually go out and manhandle him and get him back to his corner.
That's right. After every round, he's been walking around, taking a little stroll around the ring. A lot of fighters don't like to just go right back to the corner and sit. I've had a lot of fighters that almost refuse to sit. George Foreman's one of them. He says, of course, he doesn't think he'll be able to get up, but a lot of fighters don't sit down in the gym, and they feel the same way about a fight. They'd rather stand up, but you almost have to force them, because that minute rest comes in handy during the course of a fight. Here we go. Let's go back to where McGirt was throwing the combinations after Ponce had the better part of that early round. And look at that, 3, 4, 5, 6 punches, then Ponce stands there like a statue. And I'm surprised that McGirt didn't just try to bum rush him and throw some punches, because his hands were down by his side.
Ready for round 9.
Ponce's made this fight a lot more interesting than when Buddy McGirt was just boxing him. And hopefully McGirt will give us a little bit more fun on the inside with Oscar Ponce.
Now the fans begin to chant of Buddy again to try to get him going again.
You know, McGirt, you got a little interesting. I don't know if he's just that relaxed that he has his mouth open, but he does have his mouth open, which and is breathing a little bit, which you know, it kind of surprises me. As well as he trains, that he may be laboring a little bit with his breathing at this point. Of course, Oscar Ponce has been chasing him all night long, and that can tire you out when you're going backwards.
Buddy McGirt, currently the WBC welterweight champ, previously the IBF junior welterweight champion, has been in control of this fight from the start. No question about that. Has no doubt a wide lead on points. But Oscar Ponce just keeps coming forward and has been seems to be enjoying the combat, even though he gets hit a lot.
Yeah, and Oscar Ponce would serve himself better if, when he's closing that gap against McGirt, stick out a jab. I mean, he hasn't really done it once. He just holds his gloves up next to his face and then eliminates any chance of holding McGirt off, his punches off, and McGirt just sticks out his jab, and he's got the range on him.
No, he comes in, he swings wide punches, hooking with the left, crossing with the right, and actually hooking with the right too, which you don't normally say in terms of a guy who's a right-handed fighter, but he actually brings it in a roundhouse fashion in the form of a hook, like that.
That's exactly right.
And a little left to the body by Ponce.
Well, if this was a 26-round fight, I think Ponce might have a good shot. Because he looks like he's ready to go all night. And I think Buddy timed his training just perfectly for a perfect 10 rounds if need be.
Here again, hitting and not getting hit is Buddy McGirt.
So you see Oscar Ponce, really, he squares his shoulders up to you as he comes in, and that's where that effect, that left hook, right hook can come from, because he really doesn't have that right foot behind him. He's got his feet parallel to each other when he comes at you.
Ponce keeps coming forward, keeps trying the right to the body, but with no effect.
That's 3 right hands in a row he missed. He should have figured out, hey, maybe I'll use my left. And he's not doing that.
Now again, McGirt really taking control. He's not getting hit this round the way he was in the previous 2.
Well, this may be one round that you sentimentally might give to Oscar Ponce, just the kicks. But he's a bloody mess right now, and his white shorts are turning pink, and his face is a mess.
The heartwarming aspect of Joe Goosen is coming to the fore, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of round 9. Back once again, 10th and final round at the Trump Plaza. The WBC welterweight champion, James Buddy McGirt, against Oscar Ponce in the white trunks. Ponce been bleeding a little bit heavier in the last couple of rounds. Well behind on points. Knows he needs a knockout to win, and he's going to come after Buddy to be sure in this round.
That's right, a rough and rugged Oscar Ponce. But as he was running in, because he's desperate, he needs a knockout, obviously, to win. He got hit with, and landed a decent right hand off of Buddy McGirt, but got hit with 2 or 3 counter left hooks running in.
Well, he tried to measure him for that right hand, but still missed it.
Well, you see, somebody told him to throw a jab. He's pumped out a couple of them there. Here goes that lead right hand. But he really needs a knockout, and it's pretty doubtful it's going to happen right now at this point. But the good thing that comes out of this for Oscar Ponce is that he's found at least a new Oscar Ponce, where he's training harder, he's fighting more, and I'll tell you, he could give a lot of guys a run for his money if he tightened up his offense a little bit, because he's got a lot of courage, he's got a great chin, and he's got a lot of endurance. He's just got to really get a better offense going for himself, and he could do something. Maybe never be world champ, but make some money in this sport.
Speaking of money, is Buddy McGirt, do you think, with all the talent that he has, is the kind of fighter that can attract a semi-mega fight to where he could make some huge dollars, Joe?
Well, you look here at this room, and it's a full room here, and it's Buddy McGirt fighting Oscar Ponce. Now, they didn't come out to see Ponce. They came out to see Buddy McGirt, and it's just an opponent at this point. But I think if you put Buddy McGirt in with a Meldrick Taylor or Terry Norris, I think there would be a big attraction, and all of the cable stations or pay-per-views would want to get it. I'd love to see it.
Now, McGirt is the guy opening up here. Really sharp. Boy, I tell you, he's landed a very high percentage of his punches tonight. Buddy had good leverage on that left hook as he went in, had a lot of body on it.
Well, I don't think we've seen the best Buddy McGirt that we've seen before or going to see again. And sometimes they...
Well, you wouldn't expect to tonight.
Right, exactly. And, Buddy McGirt has knocked out world-rated fighters, which Oscar Ponce certainly isn't. So I think Buddy McGirt at his best, you're going to even see him a better fighter, but you can see exactly how good he is here, just what talent he has.
Well, he's getting work. And, of course, the greater competition that he fights, usually the better that he is, as evidenced by his fight against Simon Brown.
As true with most good fighters.
Here's that combination by Meldrick, and Oscar going back to being a little discouraged again as this fight comes to an end. But Oscar Ponce is going to go the distance with the champ. And he's still throwing at the end of the fight. Still missing, but still throwing. There's the bell. End of the 10th round. End of this fight. Buddy McGirt and Oscar Ponce. The fans, as you can see, enjoyed it quite a bit. Most of the fans here standing and applauding the effort by the champion and probably the gameness of the Oscar Ponce, the kid from Argentina who came in here with a record of 14-7. And the fans give a hand to Oscar Ponce now. There you see him. He seemed to be enjoying himself in the ring tonight, even though he was on the catching end of those punches from Buddy McGirt. We take a look at some of the action of the bout now. You can see the kind of effectiveness that Buddy had as he hardly ever threw punches one at a time. Everything was combinations. You see the flurry there. 5, 6 punches at a time for Buddy, doubling up on the left hook, tripling up there, and a right and then another left, and again backing away and getting out of punching range of Oscar Ponce. He is a fine champion, Buddy McGirt. And there's a guy who tonight, Oscar Ponce, who probably made a lot of friends and perhaps can, as Joe indicated, make himself some money now in the ring. But we are ready for the decision now, so let's go up for the official announcement from Ed Darien.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Imperial Ballroom here at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, the scoring by points as follows. Judges John Poteray and Tommy Kazmarek each score 190, while Judge Jean Williams, she observed 99-91. For the winner by unanimous decision, James Buddy McGirt. And let's hear one more time for Oscar Ponce.
And there he is, the champion, Buddy McGirt. Got his hat on, still sweating heavily. We're getting our Joe Goosen up there with him now with Buddy McGirt. I think they're ready. Let's go to Joe right now.
Buddy, did he pose more problems than you thought he was going to tonight?
Most definitely. He was very awkward, very determined. Guys like that, like I said earlier, when they fight me, they rise to the occasion. And that's what happened, but I need a good 10 rounds. That's going to rest for a couple of months. Excuse me, not to be that.
Got a little
off and dry, yeah.
I understand.
But other than that, I feel great. I want to say thank everybody in Long Island, especially to God. And everybody in Long Island, I'll see you soon at the Radisson.
On a scale of 1 to 10, grade yourself as what type of condition you were in tonight?
About a 6, 7. But, to go those 10 rounds with a guy like that was great, I just fought in Italy about 8 weeks ago, so I'm back kind of quick, but I don't mind.
Was it hard for you to get motivated for a fight like this?
At first it was, then I got motivated, and then I went down, then he got tougher than I expected. I had to rise back up, and then I decided, get to work in because he wasn't going nowhere, so why try for the knockout?
Exactly. What do you have in your future? Who are you looking at? I know you're welterweight champ. You want to go after Meldrick Taylor again?
Most definitely, any of the champions. Taylor, Chavez, Camacho, Norris, anybody, don't make a difference.
All right, great having you on the show tonight, buddy. Great job, and we'll see you in the future. All right. All right, Rich, back to you, ringside.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe, and thanks also to the winner, Buddy McGirt. We'll be back to wrap things up from Atlantic City in just a moment.